So South Park just released episode 6 of season 27. Wait a minute, season 28, episode 1? What the f***? When I saw this episode advertised as part of season 28, I was sure it was just a glitch or a typo. It's being confirmed by various news outlets, but I haven't seen an official statement from South Park yet. This is obviously very weird, and hopefully they'll explain themselves soon. I'm already seeing conspiracy theories about why this happened. Is it a loophole in their Paramount deal? Are they just recalibrating to get season 30 to match in 2027 like they planned a long time ago? Or is this just some insane meta joke that we don't understand? Maybe by the time I upload this video, we will already know what happened. Feel free to share in the comments. As for the episode that dropped, well, I thought it was solid, while also having one of the most depressing endings we've seen in the show for quite a while. In this episode, we see South Park fully investing in brain rot culture, an incredible takedown of Peter Thiel, as well as a commentary on what Christianity is becoming in America. So let's get into our episode analysis. If you guys enjoy South Park videos, make sure to check if you're subscribed. Either way, here is Twisted Christian. The episode begins with Butters going around the hallway telling everyone a hilarious joke.
You want to know what time I woke up this morning?
What time?
Around 6-7.
6-7!
He continues using the numbers 6 and 7, which amuses everyone around him. Even Cartman thinks it's the funniest thing ever. Oh man, so I guess I have to explain this already. What the hell is 6-7? Essentially, it's a Gen Alpha brain rot meme. It's actually been around since about February, but for some reason, it keeps getting more popular among kids. There's a song by a rapper named Skrilla where he references the numbers 6 and 7. This was then used for basketball edits on TikTok, Instagram, etc. It was originally connected with the basketball player LaMelo Ball. Here's an example of an edit that people would make of him.
I'm just realizing now that he literally moves like somebody that's 6'1", 6'2", except he's 6'7".
I just been right on the highway.
These edits started to go viral to the point where even basketball players themselves were referencing this in press conferences. Warning, this clip will make you cringe.
Yeah, I mean, I've been here for 5 years, but it's felt more like 6, 7.
So the reference just kept evolving. What started from basketball edits turned into kids overusing it and trying to incorporate the numbers in literally everything. It really doesn't mean anything, they just think it's funny. Now, I could go on a rant about how cooked Gen Alpha is, but then again, when I was that age, we were entertained by Planking, Alex from Target, and Damn Daniel.
Damn, Daniel! Back at it again with the white bag!
Yeah, I hate to admit it, but we had our own brain rot, guys. It just wasn't called that yet. Alright, let's get back to the episode. PC Principal holds a school assembly about the 6-7 meme where he calls it some satanic numerology. By the way, there's a news report uploaded 1 day ago where they talk about banning this at schools. The timing is incredible on this. So PC Principal reminds the students that this is a power Christian school, and he brought someone to talk to them who happens to be the highest authority on biblical prophecies.
I'm Peter Thiel and I know about the Antichrist.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack about who Peter Thiel is. For now, I'll just give you the basics and we'll talk more about his undiagnosed schizophrenia throughout this episode. Peter Thiel is a co-founder of PayPal, Palantir Technologies, and Founders Fund. This has made him worth about $20 billion. He's also a Christian who has an obsession with the Antichrist.
The Antichrist is a newer, more human form of Satan that will soon walk the earth.
He then tells us how God punished Satan to make sure he could never have offspring. God did this by shrinking Satan's butthole to ensure that no man could ever impregnate him.
So Satan could never have a butt baby until along came Mr. Donald Trump.
Oh yeah, you thought we were done with the small wiener jokes? I warned you guys that sycophancy wasn't the end of it. Peter goes on to explain that his wiener is around 6 to 7 centimeters. We get a scene with Trump and Satan who are partaking in a pregnancy yoga class. Trump, of course, shows no interest in this at all, while Satan is deeply invested in the birth of his child. What a doting father. Satan tells Trump if he's gonna be difficult to just go home and jack off. It's kind of hilarious to imagine some poor animator at South Park Studios sifting through thousands of Trump photos to get the perfect expressions for every episode. JD interrupts his session to let him know that the government was successful in shutting down another abortion clinic. Trump, of course, pretends like this is a good thing, despite wanting nothing more than to abort his baby. JD continues the scheming we have seen in the previous episode by letting Trump know there is one clinic in town that will still perform abortions. Meanwhile, Jesus goes to talk to PC Principal, expressing concerns that he feels he doesn't fit in at the school anymore.
Of course you fit in. This school has been a cesspool of heathen left-wing little bitches, and only our faith is gonna set them right.
Maybe I'm in the minority here, but I actually think PC Principal is funnier than he's ever been. It's great how they show his character has no real backbone. He just shifts into whatever the popular culture is at the time. I mean, he's always been a divisive character, but I'm enjoying this evolution. Jesus asks him what branch of Christianity he even is.
The kind that loves his country and doesn't tolerate any
Yeah, sadly, there's a lot of people who are self-proclaimed Christians who probably don't even know what the word denomination means. Upon hearing PC Principal talk, Jesus realizes he definitely doesn't belong here. His idea of Christianity isn't about hate or pushing political agendas. PC Principal tells Jesus that he understands where he's coming from because the vice principal had some of the same concerns, but she made the transition as well. We then see what has become of Strong Woman.
She converted on Saturday. What do you think, huh? You ever seen a more Christian chick in your life?
Oh, they gave her the Mar-a-Lago look. They also mentioned how she just switched to Christianity a few days ago, which is something that has been happening in real time. Modern Christianity has been on the rise, and this episode is clearly calling out people like PC Principal, fake Christians who use religion as a means to push their own agendas. We then see that Cartman is just fully possessed by the brain rot. He physically can't stop himself from making 6-7 jokes, and it's gotten so bad that he starts puking every time he does it. Meanwhile, PC Principal invites Jesus out to go have some drinks. He even sets up a blind date for him with a nice Christian woman. Very Christian indeed. I mean, what, you can't see the cross? Of course she's Christian.
I just started reading the Bible, you know? I mean, I didn't actually read the Bible, but I listened to a lot of podcasts.
I'm actually glad they included that joke. Podcasting has become a real issue when it comes to information. Instead of doing their own research, people are increasingly relying on podcasts as their main source of information. I don't know about you guys, but I've met people who think they're an expert on a topic after listening to an hour-long podcast. The Hobbit lady also goes on a rant about transgender people and woke culture, and Jesus has clearly heard enough. He excuses himself and takes a moment to look at himself in the mirror, implying that modern Christianity is taking a toll on him. In the next scene, we see Trump at an abortion clinic, telling the doctor that he needs him to come to his house to perform an abortion on Satan. By the way, I obviously can't show it on YouTube, but they animate his butthole to like move, and it's very disturbing. Come on guys, you didn't have to do us like that. The doctor calls him out and basically tells him the baby is his responsibility. Even if he wanted to help, he has no idea how to perform an abortion on Satan. To do so, you would need some sort of expert on the Antichrist.
I'm Peter Thiel and I know about the Antichrist.
Peter Thiel holds a meeting with the South Park elementary staff, insisting that they need to get to the bottom of the cult the students are involved in, around the numbers 6 and 7. Thiel tells them that he needs access to all of the school's private data. This is a reference to his company, Palantir. So, what is Palantir? What does it do? Well, that would depend on who you ask. Essentially, they collect, organize, and analyze massive amounts of data. For who, you might ask? Well, they're used by the US military, CIA, FBI, ICE. On top of this, they are arguably the most secretive company to ever exist. Most of their work is done behind closed doors, and they have basically no transparency about how their tech is even being used. Jesus clearly doesn't agree with using private school data, and Mr. Adler jumps in saying it's ridiculous to send people's personal information to a tech billionaire preaching about the Bible.
You got a problem with Jesus, bro?
All he did was mention the Bible, and that was enough to set off PC Principal. You know, I bet there were some Christians who watched this episode and took offense to it. If you understand satire, you realize they're not making fun of Christianity. They're making fun of the fake Christians and people like PC Principal who look for any excuse to be aggressive while using religion as an excuse. So Cartman's mom takes him to a professional to find out what's wrong with him. Another amazing Cartman face to add to this year's collection. Of course, Eric can't stop making jokes, and the doctor tells Leanne he can't pinpoint the issue here.
Eric, I'm going to be very honest with you. Without sufficient nutrients, the body shuts down after 6 to 7 weeks.
Meanwhile, we see that Teal has started his surveillance on the school, trying to figure out more about this 6-7 cult. It's widely debated what Teal's politics are, described as libertarian and nationalist, but the more I read about this guy, the more he just seems schizophrenic. He's one of the most contradictory people I've ever researched. He gives lectures warning about the Antichrist and totalitarian governments while simultaneously providing the tools for a surveillance state and profiting from it. During the surveillance, he's watching all of the kids who do 6-7, trying to connect them to the Antichrist like some tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist.
Wait, why is there a camera inside the girl's bathroom?
To stop the Antichrist.
By the way, does anyone know what a gymnasium is? I'd like to blame the animators, but we know Matt and Trey didn't finish this episode until 2 days ago. Teal gets tired of Jesus complaining about how what they're doing is wrong, so PC Principal takes him away to have a little chat. When they leave the room, we learn that Teal is in contact with JD. It's confirmed that they're working together to stop the Antichrist. He tells JD that if they're going to stop it, he needs access to every government database, as if he doesn't have enough already. It cuts to Jesus and PC Principal having a conversation, where Jesus explains that he doesn't feel right about invading people's privacy and treating them this way. He goes on to say the most important thing about Christianity is loving and respecting each other.
Are you a
PC Principal just keeps assuming that Jesus is gay, but he's just saying that he doesn't understand how Christians can change who they are based on the political climate. The conversation ends with PC Principal forcing him to go out for drinks again. Back at the White House, we see Trump and Satan lying in bed. Satan is asleep, and Trump feels the need to relieve himself with a pair of chopsticks. JD barges in on him again and offers to fetch his cleanup rag. In the bathroom, we see one of the most depressing images ever. Towley is still there and being abused. JD calls Peter Teal and tells him to hurry up on his investigation about the Antichrist. Peter tells him that he found a boy who appears to be more possessed than the rest of the kids about 6-7. JD promises that if they kill the Antichrist and he becomes president, he will give Teal access to everyone's data. Teal then arrives at Cartman's house to assess the situation. He finds Cartman uncontrollably laughing in his bed.
It took around 6 or 7 minutes, I'm not ready.
He then starts reading Cartman's scripture, demanding to know what 6-7 means. Yeah, this scene is a reference to The Exorcist. I feel like most people got that. He tells Leanne there's nothing he can do for Eric here, and that he needs to take him to Washington, D.C., explaining that Eric is the key to saving the country and to unlock the secrets he holds about 6-7. Back at the dinner date, the Hobbit is ranting about nonsense yet again.
You want to know who I think the Antichrist is? Greta Thunberg.
If you're wondering why they just name-dropped Greta Thunberg, it's because Peter Thiel did. He didn't directly call her the Antichrist, but he said that Greta Thunberg and others could be legionnaires for the Antichrist in the sense that they represent a type of anti-innovation force through their activism. So do you guys understand why I call him schizophrenic yet? After this comment, Jesus has had enough and runs off to the bathroom where PC Principal goes to check up on him. PC Principal, of course, tells him to stop acting gay, and Jesus replies that he has the idea of Christianity wrong. He calls out PC Principal and others like him, saying that they have a very warped view on what Christianity is all about.
Are you questioning my faith? You want to go?
Jesus then tells him that he's just looking for a way to bully people and that he's using the Bible to do it. This line is just perfect. The basis of Christianity should be about loving and respecting each other, but modern Christianity is becoming attractive to a new audience of people who use it to give them a justification for hatred. It's funny, a lot of people who are ignorant to South Park just assume that Matt and Trey are some atheists who just hate all religion. Some people probably watched this episode and assumed that exact thing. What they actually hate is people who use religion to push ideological and political goals, or people who tie religion with government or use it as an excuse to be abusive. So after getting put in his place, PC Principal has a full-on crash out where he starts beating up Jesus. Butters taught me you're not supposed to say F Jesus, but I'm pretty sure you're also not supposed to assault him either. Jesus leaves the restaurant and we get the most depressing scene ever. He starts to question himself and appears to actually fold, giving in to the modern Christian view. He goes back to grab the Hobbit while PC Principal celebrates.
Yeah, Jesus! Let's go, bro!
Jeez, talk about a depressing ending. This actually reminds me of when Wendy gave into peer pressure in the Hobbit episode. She hated the culture of photoshopping to make girls look unrealistic. She fights for it almost the entire episode until she eventually gives in and photoshops herself while crying. South Park can cut deep sometimes. Now we do have some hope though. This is certainly a 2-part episode. We still have to find out what happens with Cartman and the Antichrist, and Jesus could have a change of heart. Maybe he gets really swole first and destroys the Antichrist. I'm mostly curious to see how Cartman is going to be tied into all of this. We know he's connected because he appears to be the most possessed, but still not much was explained about him this episode. Feel free to share your theories on that. I really do feel like this was a solid episode. It wasn't my favorite of the recent ones, but it had a lot of smart commentary about modern Christianity while still remaining funny. I loved them calling out Peter Thiel and his obsession with data collecting and religious preaching. Sure, I did have some disappointments. When I first read the synopsis and saw Cartman would be focused on in this episode, I was really excited, but I felt like he wasn't really able to shine at all. You could have put almost any other kid in his role throughout the episode and it wouldn't have changed all that much. The entire Cartman storyline was just him laughing because 6'7" was too funny, along with puking of course, but I was a little let down by that. South Park also feels like it's in this weird state where at first they seemed like they wanted to get away from serialization, but now they're kind of going back to it, not fully. I wouldn't call it full serialization, but we're getting there. And I'm someone who loves South Park when it's a different episode every week and nothing is predictable, but we'll have to see how the rest of the season plays out. Let me know what you guys thought about it. I'm keeping my promise to make a video on every single episode this year, so if you could like and subscribe if you watched up to this point, that would be greatly appreciated. As always, thank you for watching.